time for the main race of the weekend for round 6 of the 2022 Formula 1 season. And as we'll look at the grid at the moment, it really is advantage Lawson and Dennis Hauger if they can get to the end of the race, of course. As per the sprint race yesterday, Kalle Meyer has to start from the back of the grid because the qualifying is of course not reversed from a length down. But Kalle was able to rescue a point from the back of the grid, and now this race is longer, and with the added element of pit stops and the unfortunate continuation of the tyre strategy bug that we'll go for in a second, it really could throw up a strange order. It did for Monaco, and it ended up Kalle Meyer not finishing the race and Dennis Hauger doing damage limitation as he ended up second on the final lap. Of course, bear in mind that he pitted for a front wing under the safety car. The bugs of F1 23 do throw up some interesting races though, and we'll hopefully see another one today. Let's start from the back of the grid for this feature race. Kalle Meyer, as we said, at the back with Rory Cordial on the back row as he continues to slump really. Ralph Bachon, and a big shock for Richard Bachon, down in 19th, and they're behind Jake Hughes and Yuri Vibbs. Coven Ovlak and Marcus Armstrong are kind of continuing the Noah's Ark effect. It is broken by Dennis Hauger, who's apparently 14th. Behind Ollie Corbel. I actually forgot about that completely. Felipe Dragovic and Marino Sato are 12 and 11 into the top 10 we go, with Enzo Fittipaldi and Jack Doohan. Logan Sargent having a very good weekend so far. He starts 8th behind Amuyu Iwasa. Tatiana Calderon having another one having a good weekend behind Callum Williams. It's Jehan Deriva and Teo Pourchaire on the penultimate row. And for the first time this season, Frederick Vesti is near the front, but continuing his purple vein of form is Liam Lawson on pole position, which obviously gave him the extra 2 points to go with it. And as you can see, the tyre bug for F1 23 will continue. I'm assuming this is probably going to be a regular thing for the rest of the season, unless we get into a race weekend where we don't use the ultra soft tyres. This time, it is projected that everyone will hit at the end of the race for the mandatory dry tyre. Of course, you must run both types of dry tyres in a dry race, but as we learned from Monaco, you don't necessarily have to stop at all. You just have to run both types of tyre, which really does confuse me, but the game did give Liam Lawson the win, so we'll have to go with it. And that put Liam right back into the contention for the Drivers' Championship. Let's say he's still just a race win behind Kalle Meyer, but in the feature race, you can earn the full 25 points, and Liam Lawson, barring car problems, doesn't really look like relinquishing that position, as he has been very good in the feature races in the last 2 races now. He won Spain rather comfortably after taking the sprint race, mind you, and making history in that weekend. And of course, he took the Monaco win with all the chaos that was happening behind him, with a red flag, a safety car, and tyre bug implications, messing the race up a bit. Although it did give us the most enthralling weekend of the season, that was mostly thanks to Kalle Meyer's fantastic passing. And she'll have to do it all again today. She seems to be the one that is getting the most unlikely results and the most precarious of positions. So for Dennis Hauger, he'll have to hope that Kalle doesn't really get anywhere near him to pass him, or he could be falling back in this championship fight behind Lawson. I think if the positions stayed as they were, Dennis Hauger would lose second in the Drivers' Championship. So if Liam wins this, it put him right on the verge of the 2 ahead. And considering he was 13 points behind by the time we got to Spain, as he'd not really set the motor light yet, he has turned it completely around and now is in a huge vein of form, which is proving crucial at this point of the year. We're just below the halfway point. When we next arrive at Silverstone, it'll be the halfway stage of the season, and like I said, even though these cars have been slower and the races have felt like slower processions at times, the season has gone by in a bit of a blur, to be honest. And that's what we like from this vein of racing, of course. Kalle Meyer, what can she do? She's had a fantastic weekend. She's been put on the Audi driver program. Her drive in Monaco gave her the most notoriety. And now she rescued 8th from last on the grid and probably believes anything is possible at this point. Do not count Kalle out for at least a podium here, if things go her way, of course. She is for, hopefully we hope, a rare time this season, the last one to form the back of the grid there, alongside Amuyu Iwasa, who's had a bit of a slump lately after starting the season strong, as we said earlier. So here we go again, 4 laps longer than the sprint race. There are the 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go, and Liam Lawson cuts immediately across Frederick Vesti to take the line, but he'll have to come back and cover the inside line. Callie is once again down the inside of 3 or 4 cars on the track, but unfortunately, she only ends up in 19th. That's her lowest start for a while, although she's going to fly down the inside of turn 2 and make possible short work of Clever Novalok up into 16th place, and she did. So not the high flying start from Callie Mayer, but she can make that up easily. And Liam Lawson leads as we end the first sector. Frederick Vesti, good position in second. Deruva the third, Fourchere fourth, Callum Williams the fifth, Calderon holding on to 6th. Iwasa 7th. Iwasa is getting very consistently amount of points lately, and he's doing really well in the other Dams car, which makes Dams' job easier in the team's championship, of course, with Callie down the field for the moment. Fittipaldi's 8th. He's actually gone on to 8th, ahead of Felipe Dragovic, and Jack Doohan is 10th. Logan Sargent has been bumped out of the points, sadly, down in 11th. Caldwell's 12th, followed by Dennis Hauger. Callie Mayer's 15th on his tail. Armstrong 16th, followed by Novalok. Verschaw is 18th. We've got a green flag, which means probably had to be a yellow flag somewhere momentarily. Jake Hughes, or Yuri Vips rather, Jake Hughes, Ralph Pashog, and Amuyu Iwasa bring up the field of 22 as we blast into the second sector and at the final section of track, which will literally be a straight and maybe some left-right kinks, very similar to, say, Spa. And that's a virtue for Logan Sargent. He started 8th. He's now 11th behind Jack Doohan and Dragovic. So it looks like they got ahead of him early on, as did Fittipaldi. Of course, Fittipaldi was the man that started 10th, so he's won as well at the start, going up to 8th place as we blast down the straight, the longest straight in Formula 1, twice the length at the Shanghai back straight. There's Callie Mayer already looking down the inside of Dennis Hauger for 14th place, and that is not what Dennis Hauger needs right now. But it's going to be what's going to be happening, because there is an inevitability about being passed by Callie Mayer at the start of a race. She's up to 14th as we go onto lap 2. And DRS will be activated at the end of the next lap, of course. Callie is P14, a lot more laps in this race, 4 to be exact. We have 15 laps in this feature race. Of course, it is a much shorter distance than a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Let's see the start from Callie Mayer. Once again, she's up towards the wall, and she's brushing the wall as she stays there. Don't think about Callie Mayer. She will stay there. If she picks her spot, she's staying there, and you're not moving her unless you kind of run her off the road. But unfortunately, I think she broke probably a bit too late and locked up momentarily and lost a few positions on the way out with the exit for the corner, but made it all back up later, and there's how she passed Novalok at a little of the straight there. Aiden Jackson was 14th, I think, in the Grand Prix at that point last year, of course. We have a yellow flag ahead, not sure who it's for, as we come on to the Tangent of Calderon. It is Calderon that is causing the yellow flag, and she is slowing to a stop. Oh, that's unfortunate. This sport can be so cruel. Tatiana Calderon had a great weekend, but sadly, it ends in engine failure. She's out of the race in the Charouz car. She's had a stunning weekend up to now, and that is hugely, hugely unfortunate. Big news, but not a big shock, is Liam Lawson. He's already ahead by, I believe, that's 1.5 seconds. Ahead of Frederick Vesti. So Liam Lawson's checked out and gone to win possibly his 3rd feature race in a row. But of course, to finish first you have to finish. And Liam Lawson was hoping that his car holds up for him to do that. So that puts Logan Sargent now back in the points in 10th place. And also puts Callie Mayer in 12th. 2 points off a points playing position already, as DRS is enabled at the end of the slab. And obviously it won't be down this straight, but it may be. Callie Mayer won't even need it as she goes around the outside of Sato in turn 1 at the Sato in the Virtuoso car, and makes short work of it into P11. And now she's going to have DRS on Sargent ahead to possibly move into P10. Well, not Enzo Fittipaldi. Yes, it is Fittipaldi there in 7th, leading this DRS train. There's a bit of a gap between him and Amuyu Iwasa in 6th, as he continues to be very consistent himself. Vidam's drivers have been definitely somewhat the class of the field this season, aside from Liam Lawson lately. And of course, Prema started with a double win in Bahrain, if you remember, with Dennis Hauger taking the sprint and JR Daruva taking the feature race. Meanwhile, right now, Daruvala is 3rd and Hauger is 14th. So he's not really making much inroads there. But as long as Daruvala is up there in the points, Prema can keep putting on the board and keeping the pressure on Dams, as Kalimea had a small look there down the inside of Logan Sargent going into the castle section. That'd be turn 8. That would have been a very bold and daring move there by Kalimea, but probably would have been expected to at least go for it. Knowing Cali's boldness in Monaco, certainly got her a couple of places. One move at Raskas comes to mind, and the other with Lowe's hairpin with her teammate for 5 corners. Well, she's been added to the Audi development program. Konnersport have announced their brand partnership with Audi for 2023, so it does give both Konnersport and Kalimea some sort of avenue into F1 next season, to some degree. And I think the way Cal is going at the moment, you'd have to say she's probably a shoo-in for the seat if it does become available. Audi have no plans to replace their drivers right now, despite Nico Hulkenberg's appalling luck. He has not scored for the last few races down Nico Hulkenberg. He had a double retirement in Imola and Miami, of course. Audi started so strong in Bahrain with a double point finish, but since then Aiden Jackson has been getting all the podiums and points on the board, while poor Nico Hulkenberg has been curtailed by engine penalties mostly, putting him to the back of the grid in qualifying. And even saving the engines that Audi have been doing with Hulkenberg on the weekends he does get a penalty, hasn't really worked out. Jackson has definitely got the maximum out of that car, while Hulkenberg has been struggling in DRS trains for the most part, but it's not even Hulkenberg's fault, to be fair. No plans to change at Audi so far. They're fully behind him. You know, he is the Audi Sport ambassador after all, that was first revealed at last season's summer break when Audi revealed their concept livery and concept car for their possible entry in 2026. But thanks to Hulkenberg being available for one of the seats and Aiden Jackson being a opportunity for the other, after being snubbed by the likes of McLaren and Aston Martin for alternative options, and even Alpine to a degree as well, Aiden was able to land a shot at Audi, and he's reaping the benefits so far. He is on pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and Audi have looked really strong here this weekend, so he certainly has a chance to grab his first win for Audi and the second of his career after winning the 2021 Italian Grand Prix against the odds at Monza in that chaotic race. And as we approach lap 5, Liam Lawson is now, I believe, is that 5 seconds ahead of Vesti? Liam Lawson is absolutely flying at this moment. But strangely, Liam Lawson, he may be flying, but he's not the man getting the fastest laps. That always seems to be Kalimea, who has been consistently fast. And now she is in the top 10 as she's passed Logan Sargent for 10th place, and now going to pass Jack Doohan for 9th in the other Virtuosi car. And it is short work with the DRS enabled. Well, despite being a late show at Dams this season, after the falling of sponsorship of Roy Nassani, who was going to be originally in that car, while Kalimea was going to be driving for the Trident team alongside Richard Verschoor, it seemed like. But Dams snapped her up immediately, and they are reaping the benefits. I think it's not to say that Trident in particular wouldn't have reaped the benefits, because Trident have been the surprise outfit of the season. Apart from Monaco, but they had a bit of a slump. But today, Callum was his 15th. Richard Verschoor was held back by a poor qualifying down the order, but at least one of the Tridents is still in the points. Jalan Daruva started the season with a win in the Bahrain feature race, but has not really done any really winning since. He has been consistently in the points. He needs to be today because his teammate Dennis Hauger is struggling down in 14th, and Liam Lawson, well, it wasn't 5 seconds, it's now 4, but even still, the outcome is the same. Liam Lawson is comfortably leading at the front here. and we're approaching 9 laps to go, and Liam Lawson looks the shoe-in for this one, and it'll be crucial, and he needs to hope Callie Mayer doesn't land the fastest lap at any point, because that'll give her an extra point on top of the 2 she already has at the moment for placing P9. Teo Pourchaire here in 4th place, definitely been a unsung hero of 2022 so far. And now he's chasing Jehan Deruvala for 3rd. Both ARTs in the points then, with Frederick Vesti coming off a very positive weekend after a very decent qualifying where he was 2nd. But no one was beating Liam Lawson at this current moment in time. And they are chasing Felipe Dragovic, certainly not having the season that was expected. Dragovic, a bit out of the championship fight at the moment. He'll be hoping to have a better second half of the season than the first he's had. I don't think he's won so far yet a race, which has been rather unfortunate not to do so. Fittipaldi is doing a good job of holding him off, but he's losing touch to Iwasa, who is not really keeping any touch with Williams. The field is starting to get a bit spread out now, with DRS becoming less effective for those behind who are in over 1 second gaps, of course, because that's how you earn DRS, is being 1 second within 1 second behind the car in front in the detection points. On the track, I think there is 3 zones on this track. One down the very long start-finish straight, the other after turn 2. And I think that actually might be the only 2. I don't think there is a 3rd one, because in the second set it's all twisty turns like this that Vesti is going through right now. They're doing very well with it, keeping ahead of Jehan Deruvala, who is in DRS range at this very moment. But Liam Lawson is racing away at the front for sure. 5 seconds now between him and Frederick Vesti behind. Unlike Monaco, I don't think Lawson has a distinct tyre advantage in this one, because he completed the sprint race, and due to the tyre plug not carrying the unused set in this weekend's, it doesn't give Lawson an advantage because he has pretty much the same level of tyres as everyone else. It could be Dennis Hauger that probably reaps that benefit, because he retired very early on in the sprint race, so he probably gets the advantage of better starting tyres, as it were. Well, not really starting tyres, because everyone's on the super softs. When they go to the softer tyre for the mandatory tyre set, Dennis Hauger will certainly reap the benefits of it, having retired early on in the sprint race. Right now, Liam Lawson doesn't even need any advantages. He is leading very comfortably at the front. How is Callie Mayer doing in terms of catching Dragovic? She is right in the DRS zone, but the race directing for camera-wise on the racing is more focused on Liam Lawson, although we have now cut to the battle between Mayer and Dragovic, and there's an air inevitability about that. Callie Mayer is now 8th. Well, I don't think she's going to be in for the win this weekend. Liam Lawson certainly is comfortable at the front. She could probably at least get a podium from here, as he's not that far behind Enzo Fittipaldi for DRS on him. But then there is a 2 second gap between him and 6th, which would be Callie's teammate Amuyu Iwasa, who is right there, and unfortunately can't get DRS on Williams. Ahead, Pourchaire is actually keeping with Jehan Deruvala and his teammate here. As ART, they can do with the extra points, so Pourchaire can benefit from a move there. Liam Lawson is just so comfortable at the front. It's almost impeccable rather. Very much Michael Schumacher, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton-esque, where he takes the lead and never looks back. And it looks to be another one of those for him today. And it's just sad that we lost Tatiana Calder, and she was having such a good weekend. Hoping for her first double points finish of the season. She's finally got points on the board. It's only Jake Hughes, I believe now, who hasn't scored in Formula 2 this season. You can really see how big the gap is between Vesti and Lawson. Lawson was going into the second corner, and Vesti hadn't even been just about finished the across the start-finish line. Maybe a couple of points for Djokovic, but certainly not the whole of points he's been expecting over the course of 2022. It's more about Callie Mayer's consistency so far in the championship, although right now she's going to be having Liam Lawson right behind her by the end of this race. I believe right now Hauger would be, Lawson would be about 8 or 9 points behind if the order stays like this. And I think Hauger's 8, so it'd be very close between Lawson and Hauger actually as well. Might be a point in it. For sure, the other train stuck in a DRS train. Got Clement Novalak in front of him. Not really getting away from Yuri Vips either. So from, I would say, I think that may be Hauger at the head of the train here. And Cordial, there's less than a second. And, getting one of those F2 procession races, unfortunately, where DRS trains really kind of spoiled the racing, really. It's like playing F1 Manager 2022 in where, or was it, no, it was 22, no, that's not even out yet, but there is some gameplay that was revealed at one point, and DRS trains were certainly an issue, and the Frontier team is hoping to direct that later. So a bit of gaming news for you guys on that one. Liam Lawson absolutely running away. Is he coming into the pits? He is. I don't think it's really going to matter. He'll obviously lose the lead if Vesti goes on, which he won't. So, Deruvela, Porsche, it's not Lawson, it's Iwasa, I think, is going on. So that means probably Callie Mayer is coming in then. She is. So Callie Mayer is going to be the first of the Dams pit stops, which is somewhat confusing. Iwasa is the lead driver, so you'd think they'd give parental treatment in the pits to him, but it's Callie Mayer who's coming in first for Dams. There is Liam Lawson, and he would do well to get out ahead of his in somewhat of his trapping, but he's got ahead of Cordial in 11th. But of course, he might not have to spend too far long behind these guys, as they may have to pit next lap. That's how it works in Formula 2 usually. You can't double stack in Formula 2, it would take too long. Because the pit crews are substantially less than in Formula 1. Formula 1 has 22 of the guys in the pit crew at one time. I think Formula 2 doesn't even have half of that. There's the 2 tyre changes and the 2 jacks, so that's about 6, already about 8 people on the cars at one time in the pits. So it is substantially less. So it takes longer. JR Deruvela leads this race. Did Dennis Hauger pitted that? He did, and he's dropped all the way down to 18th. So Dennis Hauger has really been hurt by the pit stops. And most of the guys in front of him have already pitted, bar the first 9. So I don't know what Dennis Hauger is going to get from this. Liam Lawson wants to get a move on. He's having a look at Ralph Boschong in the Campos. And he really wants to get this move done, doesn't he? He's all over him. And there's just no stopping Liam Lawson at the moment. He's even on, even when he's caught in traffic, he's trying to get a move on past Boschong. He'll pass him, pit stop or not, for Ralph Boschong. And he'll probably get DRS. He might even pass him before the DRS zone, to be fair. There's Amaury Cordial down at the back. Jake Hughes is last, but of course he's pitted. And Liam Lawson does get DRS on Ralph Boschong, and he will come into the pits. So that just gives Lawson even more advantage with an extra burst of speed down that straight. And he has assumed the lead and running away. Frederick Vesti hasn't even entered the pits yet. There he is, because he pitted first. And I think Lawson has actually got a bigger lead than what he came in with. I think it's 9 seconds now, isn't it? Or is it 5? In any case, it's comfortable straight for Liam Lawson then. Pretty much all the way to the checkered flag in these final few laps. So there's everyone filter out. Vesti's still second, Deruvela's still third. I think the top 8, 9, maybe even 10 are exactly the same. I think one of the big losers, unfortunately, is Logan Sargent. down in P12. But I think the top 10 are pretty much as you were, aside from that. Because Mayer was 8th, Dragovic was 9th, and Duin, I believe, was 10th. So Ollie Coldwell's got ahead of Sargent somehow. Unfortunately, it's a lot closer to Deruvela though. So that could be an interesting battle going towards the final laps of his race. Alan Williams is also in there. There's a bit of a gap between him and Fittipaldi. So speaking of which, I believe Cali Mayer is 2 seconds behind Fittipaldi. So unfortunately, it looks like 8th is the best she's going to get in this race. Which isn't too bad considering where is Dennis Hauger? 15th he is at this very moment. Of course he has the advantage of maybe not having to make a second stop. I don't know what tyres he's on. Of course everyone's going to have to stop a second time because nobody is running the second mandatory tyre. Maybe Hauger is, I'm not sure. Really able to see his tyres at this moment on board the tail Porsche. And I think we've lost a Maury Cordial. DNF on the screen. We haven't really seen what happened to him. I believe we're going to get a replay right now. Here we go. And just losing drive. We didn't really see it. But Maury Cordial, who was having a bad weekend anyway, starting towards the back. Has now lost drive in his car. He'll be happy to go home early, I would have thought. He's travelling a really long way. I think he probably got these... obviously everyone's going to know what he's doing. I'm surprised the VSC wasn't called. But then to be fair, there is a runoff down here. So I think that's very sensible from Maury Cordio actually. Because he was last anyway. And I don't think Liam Lawson had any danger of lapping him. And back to live racing, and Cali Mayer is now 8th, and that's going to become 7th, folks, because she's going to make another move today on Enzo Fittipaldi. And she's going to get the fastest lap as well, inevitability about that. And it's another extra point that Cali is going to claim on that now. Ollie Caldwell is battling with Logan Sargent. We've got a battle here, folks. Ollie Caldwell and Logan Sargent. Alpine Academy versus Williams Academy then. In that particular battle for P11, and possibly for a point if they can pass Jack Doohan, who's also in the Alpine Academy, I might add. But Caldwell and Doohan actually drive for different teams, I think. Yes, because Doohan is at Virtuosi, and Caldwell is at... I think Caldwell's at Campos. I'm not sure now. I think it's Campos. Yeah, I believe it's Campos. But yes, in any case, yeah, because the Carlin is Sargent and where's the other one on the screen? I'm only seeing one Carlin car. That's weird. I'm only seeing one Carlin car at the moment. I can't see the other. I don't know where that is. Maybe that's where Ollie Caldwell is. I actually don't know. I think it is Campos for Ollie Caldwell. But I'm only seeing one Carlin car, which is very strange. Where's the other? Oh, it's Liam Lawson. It's Liam Lawson, of course. Call me dumb, but Liam Lawson's obviously the lead Carlin car, and is leading the race. It's because we haven't really had to talk about him at all because he's dominating up front, and we forgot what his car was. Oops. But in any case, top 10, Liam Lawson leading by 8 seconds. I believe that is ahead of Vesti. And it's as you were, really. Vesti, Deruvela, Porsche, Williams, Iwasa has got Cali Mayer coming down on him quick. And now we're going to have another battle between the two Dams cars here. Is Cali trying to try a ball move down the inside of turn 1? Iwasa tries to not make it easy for her again. But he can't hold it. And he lets her through. I think that would probably be better off, really. Cali has definitely been the faster of the two. Over the course of the last few weekends now, as Sargent retakes P11 from Ollie Caldwell, who's now going to lose out to Sato in the other Virtuosi car, teammate to Jack Doohan, that is. Jack Doohan is currently running in 10th place. tiny scrap going on between second down to fifth, Callum Williams. Let's see if Callie Mayer can get on the back of it. I don't think so, because she's like 4 seconds behind it. So sixth is probably the best Callie's going to get today, and considering she was at the back, she will certainly take it. Of course, everyone has to make one more stop in a lap's time for the mandatory tyre rule. Because of the infamous bug in F1 23. It was never patched, because I'm the only one witnessing Formula 2 this season, and the only one really partaking in it. Liam Lawson could probably make a T and still win this race. So dominant at the front. 9 seconds now between him and Vesti. I'd love to see what Dennis Hauger is doing, because he retired early in the sprint race, and I wonder if he's going to have to pit again like everyone else on this lap. J.R. Derula's coming in now, so one half of Prama's coming in. Callie is not. I'm sure Callie is not going to try a bold strategy again, although she can't, because she's got to pit regardless. I really want to see what Dennis Hauger's doing here, because he's going to make a whole bunch of places. And he did. He's up to P8. And that's crucial for his championship. Or at least his stake in the championship. Look at Sargent is waiting for everyone to drive past him, unfortunately, in the Carlin pits. Unfortunately, the TV director does not seem to want to run on Dennis Hauger, which is rather unfortunate, because I want to see what tyres he's on. Is he on the tyres he was on the sprint race when he retired? Because that's going to give him an immediate advantage, just like he did at Monaco. Now Williams has passed Porsche. Porsche's actually dropped to 14th now. And that was rather unfortunate, because he was just scrapped for the early points there. But of course, everyone probably ahead of him, bar Dennis Hauger, has to pit again, although he was looking rather slow coming out of that corner. We've got this replay coming up then. So what happened to him? Slowing down. And he just stopped. That was weird. The car just came to a stop. It was almost like the gearbox just gave up on him for a second. Excuse me. And that gave... who was behind him there? Was it Derula or Williams? It was Williams that passed him. And Lawson's in the pits. And, well, he could take a tea break and still win this race. And there's Vesti. So Lawson's definitely going to lead this race. But what is happening with Dennis Hauger? That's what I want to know. And we're not seeing it, but I don't think Dennis Hauger has come in. So Dennis Hauger is going to benefit from the tyre bug. He's definitely going to benefit from it, because he's now showing us P2, so he didn't have to make an extra stop. So Dennis Hauger's retirement in the sprint race has been a blessing in disguise, because now he has fresher tyres than these folks who have to run these tyres for one lap to comply with the regulations. And it's dropped Mayer. Well, Mayer was already 6th anyway. Porsche is now 7th despite his strange stop. It's almost like the gearbox just seized up on him momentarily. Callum Williams was very lucky to avoid him as he was passing him. And poor Logan Sargent has now been dumped out of the points. Sadly, Marcus Armstrong's just passed him. And we could get a small scrap for 6th here. Callie Mayer struggling on that tyres. Liam Lawson he ends up being just 2 seconds behind Dennis Hauger. And Callie did not take that corner very well. She's forcing Porsche off the road, but she's pulling to the side. I think she got out of shape, and Porsche is actually going to pass her. So Callie Mayer is going to lose a place to Tao Porsche. I think she defended too early on that one, and it forced her out of position for the end of the chicane. Well, her brother Aiden Jackson gunning for his first win in Azerbaijan later today. After arriving on the scene last season with an astonishing drive for Haas, she gets double points from the back of the grid on both occasions. But Liam Lawson and Dennis Hauger are going to carve a chunk into her championship lead. Liam Lawson because he's been absolutely dominant all day, and Dennis Hauger because he had to one main lawn less pit stop than everyone else because of a tyre bug of F1 23. Liam Lawson wins the feature race, his third in a row. And you have to say, who's going to stop him at the moment? He's on a Mick Schumacher-like form in feature races in 2020. Mick Schumacher won every feature race bar one, and that was in Silverstone when he had an infamous error with the tyres. But I don't think anyone was stopping Aiden Jackson that day anyway, because he was thoroughly dominant in a way, passing everybody to the checkered flag after spinning on lap 1 and causing a bit of a collision, which everyone thankfully got through to continue for the fight for another day. Liam Lawson dominates another feature race. It's becoming a bit of a theme in the last 3. That's 3 in a row now since Spain. He's won, and that'll carve a chunk into Cali Mayer's lead. Dennis Hauger from 14th finishes second, having made it one less stop, I think. Frederick Vesti drops to third, but it's still a great result for him, considering so far this season. Jehan Deruba's 4th. That's crucial for Prema, to be fair. That's very crucial, actually. Callum Williams 5th, Porsche 6th, Cali Mayer 7th, Fittipaldi 8th, Iwasa 9th, and Felipe Dragovic has actually got a point for 10th. Where did that come from? Felipe Dragovic from out of nowhere gets a point for MP Motorsport. And sadly, the only retirements, Amori Cordial 21st, and Tatiana Coldone last, after a promising weekend for her, and it finishes with 0 points. So now, 3 points between Cali Mayer and Dennis Hauger, and Liam Lawson is a further 5 points behind, and Richard Verschoor is not that far behind either. And then there's a bit of a gap between him and Teo Pourchaire, about 30 points, I think. So it's a 4-horse race at the top, with Verschoor still in contention, but he needs a better weekend than he's had today because he scores 0 points. And once again, as we said, every driver but Jake Hughes, sadly, has scored a point in 2022. Amuyu Iwasa up there in 10th, give him an honourable mention. And that puts Prema back in the lead of the team standings, 13 ahead of Dams. Carlin now getting ahead of Trident, whose season has started to slump a little bit. So, Dennis Hauger and Liam Lawson have closed in on the championship lead. But Cali Mayer's amazing fight max means that she still leads just. We'll see you next time when Formula 2 returns. I believe it's for the Silverstone event. We'll see you then.